let people know who you are and how they would probably know you, say from before, and kind of what you're doing right now.
My name is Ammon Bundy. Um, I am the third son of Clive and Bundy, and we are here in Burns, Oregon. Well, just south of Burns at the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge. We're at the headquarters, and um, we have chosen to take over this facility and restore it back to the people.
So, what's the current situation? Did you have to shoo people out of the building? Was it empty? How did you come to take it? Is there anybody hurt or anything like that?
Um, no, it was empty, and we came in and began to use the facilities again.
Okay. So it was empty because it was closed for the day. This was on the first, right?
Yes, you're right. Uh,
What time on the first did you guys decide to do it, and then what time did you actually do it?
it was on in the afternoon is when we did it.
So probably everybody's first concern is, do you have guns, and if so, why? What do you intend to do?
Well, we intend to defend ourselves,
So
but
just if somebody else starts shooting, then you'd defend yourself.
absolutely, absolutely, that's we're have no intention to be violent in any way, to bring harm upon anybody. We have not done that. There's nobody uh, that's being threatened right now. There's no one that we've threatened in the past, and we do not act that way. We do not work that way. We simply just know what is happening to the people of Harney County. We understand this, and we have basically taken this facility over and restored it back to the people, and are using it for the defense of the citizens of Harney County.
Okay. So let's go ahead and ask, what what was the point for taking it over? What's briefly, what's the backstory?
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with the Hams. They are a ranching family in just over the bluff, and they have, for the last decade or more, have been grossly abused by the federal government. And the federal government has wanted their land, their ranch, because it's right adjacent next to the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge, and they have private property on the mountain. And so they have wanted this. It's been a desired spot for some time now. Now, kind of give you some perspective, this ranch, or this refuge, I should say, at one time was very small, and before it was even originated, the land was owned by ranchers, and it was came in, it was forced upon them, and the ranchers here had to leave, and then it continued to expand, and each time it would eliminate more and more ranchers in the area. Now this refuge runs 187 acres, 187,000 acres. It's 50 miles long and 40 miles wide, approximately. And it has taken over 100 ranches to make it. And there's ranchers, the Hammonds are one of the last ones left, and they have refused to sell to them. And because of that refusal, it started basically a path of vindictive behaviors towards the Hammonds, to the point that they began to prosecute the Hammonds for doing what the other ranchers have done in the area and for protecting their property. And this is a tactic in which they have used on many other ranchers to put ranchers in duress so that they will finally give up and just sell it to them. And some of the proof, I guess, that I offer you that the U.S. government is trying to take their land is uh, four different pieces to it. One, they have prosecuted them, and it's taken the Hammonds almost upwards to $1 million in their defense. And that's one of the things that they do is they get individuals or families and they prosecute, or they indict them directly, and they have to defend themselves. And then they make an offer on the table. Well, we'll let this go and we won't prosecute anymore if you sell. And those that don't sell, they just say, well, we're going to take your ranch anyway because we'll put you in such duress that you'll have to sell. During the court proceedings, they required the Hammonds to sign a first right of refusal over to their ranch, over to the Bureau of Land Management of their ranch, meaning that if they did sell or if they couldn't make it, they would have to sell it to the U.S. government, the Bureau of Land Management. Also, they fined them $400,000 and required them to pay in a short period of time. And give an example, Dwight had to go start driving truck, hauling cattle back and forth while Stephen was working at the ranch in order for them to make this happen. And you've got to look at the Hammonds. It's pretty impressive that just in a few years that they could pay this fine because they have done it. They are hard workers. They're good people. And then last proof of the federal government putting families in duress, especially the Hammonds in this case, comes in the form of a restriction or requirement that the Hammonds have to get permission from the U.S. government if they are to spend anything over the $500 buying or purchasing. So these are the restrictions and mandates that that have been placed on this family, and it is an effort to try to get them to just give up and finally sell the ranch to the only people that they can legally sell it to, which is the U.S. government.
So, in all of this, what is the objective for taking the federal building? Obviously, that's going to be what everybody focuses on right now. So, what is it that you're hoping to accomplish with this act?
Well, this facility, because there's more than one building here, it's more like a campus, or it's a facility.
And you have the whole campus or just one building?
We have the whole campus. I mean, when I say campus, I don't want people to think it's like a college or anything, but there's several buildings. There's a shop on it, and there's some offices, and there is bunkhouse and mess hall, and there's several buildings. And this facility has been a tool that's been used by the federal government to destroy ranchers for many decades. And that is not the reason which we formed our government. They do not have the right to, the federal government does not have the right to come into the states and to take and control the land and the resources. And they have been doing it for some time, and we have got somewhat complacent to it. But the fact of it is, the resources belong to the people. The federal government's job is to defend the states against the outside world. And the state's job is to defend the counties against the federal government. And the county's job is to defend the people against the states. And the people's job is to keep a good eye on their county to make sure and participate in the county and get judges in there and have your juries of your peers, so that people can go about living their lives. They can receive justice through the court systems. And it's very simple. We have a situation here where the federal government has neglected its responsibilities in defending the states against the rest of the world, and their sights on the American people's land and resources. And that is where we're at. So we have to make a stand to restore the land and the resources back to the people, and that's what we're doing here.
Do you all have food, water, electricity right now? What happens if the government decides not to give you or not to allow you to bring in more food or water? Then what happens in that situation?
I think it's really simple. If they tried to block and cut us off and tried any of those tactics, the American people would just assemble on the other side of the line, and at one point they would just come through the line. It's very simple, and all the people want is for their government to act the way that we require them, to act in the authority that we give them. And it's very simple. So if government wants to solve the situation, and the federal government wants to solve the situation, then they just need to adhere to the Constitution, because those are the rules in which would give them to abide by.
What specifically would the government be able to do to have you guys leave the building? At what point do you say, okay, we've satisfied our objective in taking it, now we're going to leave?
When the people of Harney County have access to their lands without fear and intimidation.
So you're prepared to stay there for a long time?
We are planning to stay here and assist the people in claiming their rights and in using their rights, and then we will stand as a defense for them as they do this. And I believe that it will begin to grow its own legs, where the people of Harney County can begin to stand and defend themselves, and then we can go home to our families.